Hey guys, it's Abby from Autumn of Eleanor, and today I'm going to be doing a pretty decent sized unhaul of quite a lot of books. At the minute I live at home with my mum and dad, and so under their roof I kind of have to abide by their whims a little bit, and they do not like me having so many books. And I ended up buying some more recently and they weren't pleased, so my compromise is I filled my basket with a load of books. I'm getting rid of them. There's various reasons for these various books, so let's just get into them. Let's start with middle grade. Time Train to the Blitz by Sophie and McKenzie. I picked this up because I love World War II fiction, and this was disappointing, even for middle grade. As in, my disappointing factor was that it didn't explain what was happening. It just dunked you in and didn't even try to give any form of explanation as to why it happened in the way that it did. I gave it 2 stars. I like middle grade. Do not like this. So, goodbye. Next up is The Boy in the Stripe Pajamas by Boyne. There are a variety of reasons that I'm getting rid of this. I personally would be getting rid of it anyway. I have no desire really to keep it. I am kind of glad that I read it because it's something that's talked about a lot in society, especially in British society at least. But at the same time, this book has been hailed as problematic. Boyne has been hailed as problematic, so I'm going to offer it to my old primary school, and it's up to them because they may have it on the curriculum, so then, you know, they have to teach what's on the curriculum and they may need this book. But if not, then it's just going to go to a charity shop. I think it's a difficult one because there are kids who are going to pick this up anyway. So I don't know. It feels wrong to just like destroy it. So I will probably donate it, but we'll see. Then we have A Place Called Perfect by Helena Duggan. I really loved this book. I think I gave it 4 stars. It was so much fun. Just a fun little romp through this really inventive and unique world, and I'm totally up to reading the sequels that have come out, but I don't need to own it, and I really think it would do a lot more good in my old primary school than in my house. Just for context, primary schools in the UK are from whenever you start school, so like 3 or 4 up until about 12, and my mum works in the one that I went to last. I went to lots of different primary schools, but she works in the one that I went to in this location, so that is why I keep donating books there. And I think that they'll really appreciate this a lot more than I ever will. I may have reread it at some point, but if I'm that desperate to, I can always ask to borrow it back from the school. Then we have The Lost Island of Tamarind by Nadia Aguiar. I'm saying that so wrong. This is a lot of fun. It's like an adventure story. Again, there's nothing particularly wrong with, most of these books. It's just this isn't one I'm going to read again. I really enjoyed it when I was younger, and it'll do a lot more good in school. Charmed Life by Dianna Wynne Jones is the only Dianna Wynne Jones book I've ever read, and I did enjoy it, but I don't particularly care to pick up more from her. I didn't at the time, and I don't now as an adult. So, again, best for the kids. And the last middle grade book is Mirrorscape by Wilkes. This I really, really loved. It was so enjoyable, but again, it's going to do a lot more good in the school. I will also say straight up that all of these books are going to be put into a quarantine situation. They're going to be shut away for 2 weeks minimum, maybe even longer. It might be over the summer holidays, whatever that is right now, to decontaminate just in case there is some infection or anything. So the kids will be fine. They will be isolated. I'm gonna start. Oh no, wait! I missed one. Children's classics: Grimm's Fairy Tales and Andersen's Fairy Tales. Back-to-back classics, 2 books in 1. So I got this just because I thought I really should, you know, read the classic fairy tales, and it was in a shop, and I was like, alright then. So again, this is another one I'm going to donate. I'm glad I read it. I don't need to read it again. If I really want to reference the stories, I'm pretty sure that these are out of copyright right now, so I can get a copy onto my Kindle. So again, one for the children. Now on to the teenage books. So, this author. Okay, let me start with the non-controversial one. Fangirl by Rowell. I'll be completely honest, I enjoyed this. I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. This is also a really beautiful cover. It's a really fun book. It's the first book I've read with the protagonist set in a college rather than in school, and I just managed to read this when I was in university, so I wasn't too far out of the bracket. I was doing my postgrad, but you know, still in the same environment. And I will say straight up that I did enjoy this book, but I also don't want to reread it. So the next book by this author I have not read, and it's Eleanor and Park, again by Rowell. This book I bought full price. Well, no, I didn't. I bought it new. I didn't buy it full price. This book I bought new, and it was years ago, and I meant to read it and I never got round to it. It's contemporary, so they always take me longer to get to because I'm less inclined to pick them up. And this has a lot of racial problems. Rowell is known for having quite a lot of racial issues. That is not the correct way to phrase it. Rowell has written this in a really quite offensive way. I believe Park is Korean, from what I've seen online, but the problem is that, yes, Park is a Korean name, but it's a Korean last name, not a first name. And also there's stuff within the text where Eleanor is problematic and it's not really addressed in any way. She's just kind of racist and then it's just left. And there's been a movie or a TV show scripted for this, and the director is Japanese rather than Korean, because she was like, oh, he's Asian. So, and also Rowell hasn't responded to comments. It would have been slightly better, you know, if she'd said, oh, I screwed up, but it's out there now, and I'm sorry for screwing up. Instead, she's just kind of deleted all the comments about it, and it's not good. So this should have been a sweet little story that I probably would have enjoyed to a point, but just the racist aspects of this book are not for me. I really recommend you guys don't read it either. There are a lot of in-depth analyses. How the fuck do you pluralise analysis? Anyway, there's a lot of in-depth work gone into looking at this book and looking at the racism. Lots of people have done that, so if you want to know more, give it a quick Google. But yes, don't really want to read this anymore. Now on to the adult books that I'm getting rid of. First up is After Anna by Alex Lake. This was gifted to me by my aunt after she read it and she really loved it. I loved this. I either gave it 4 or 5 stars. I threw it across the room when I finished it because the ending, I was annoyed. This is a really good book. I recommend that if you enjoy thrillers, you pick this up. It's really good, but I know that I don't want to reread it. So, but it was really good. I recommend if you like thrillers. Another thriller which I didn't think was really good is Elizabeth is Missing by Emma Healey. This is more of a mystery than a thriller. It follows an old woman who has memory loss, and I just couldn't get into it. I gave it 3 stars, it was okay, but this was not a book for me and I don't need to keep it. On the same vein, Watching Eddie by Camilla Way. This was so promising, so promising, and it just fell apart. That it was quite problematic, especially once you reach the end. Like, the twist was just a problematic aspect that shouldn't have been a twist. I read Elizabeth is Missing and Watching Eddie for the Thriller-a-thon earlier in 2020, so I will link that in the cards, whichever side the cards are on, if you want to go and watch my wrap-up for that and my thoughts. Another mystery thriller, The Visitors by Simon Sylvester. I picked this up on a whim from The Works, a discount shop we have here in the UK, because it just sounded cool. It's about silkies and I didn't really know too much about them, and given that I am half Scottish, that is kind of shameful. So I picked this up and I read it and I did really enjoy it. This is a really nice book. I think it's handled quite well and it's really gorgeous, but I just don't want to keep it. I don't need it on my shelves. This is what happened with most of these. I'm just like, nah, What next? Ooh, next we have one I've read and one I have not. And that is from Jonasson, and we have the 100-year-old man who climbed out of the window and disappeared, and we have The Girl Who Saved the King of Sweden. Now, I read this one on an app called Bloon, which doesn't function anymore, it's dead, it's gone, but basically you could get free books to read on the app if you did certain things for credit. It's a bit like, you know, when those apps are like, oh yeah, you can get like money to redeem if you do all these adverts and stuff, and then like, but this, I did actually get to read the entire book on it, so at least there was that. I'm assuming it didn't work monetarily because the app is now shut down, but that is how I read this book. It is really enjoyable. I don't want to own it anymore. I'm never going to reread it. It's a fun romp, and it features an older protagonist. Clearly he's a 100-year-old man, so if you are looking to do the fuck ableism prompt at any point, I know the fuckathon is over, but if you want to do the fuck ableism prompt, ableism? Ageism. Stupid. So this book follows a young girl called Nombeko Mayeki, and it's kind of clear as to what goes on, and she goes on a little adventure, same as the 100-year-old man who climbed out the window and disappeared. I find the concept interesting, but not interesting enough to read 400 pages about it. I would read like a short story of this sort of thing, but I'm just not, don't wanna. Then next, The Help by Kathryn Stockett. This book, so I've watched the movie. It's a big book, and I was interested in the story when I was in A-level. As you guys may know, if you've heard me talk before, my A-levels were not a good time, and this is a 450-page book, so I did not have time to read. So I watched the movie, and I will admit I enjoyed the movie. But this book is quite problematic in the way that it portrays the black servants, in the way that it portrays just a lot of things. And there was actually a lawsuit from someone. I don't remember too much about it, but there was a lawsuit from one of the inspirations for the slaves because she did not like how she was portrayed. It was inaccurate. I don't know too much, but this is just essentially a very white saviour orientated book. It's very much that Skeeter, the main character in this book, saves all the black people, saves the black slaves from the nasty wives that they're having to help, and is just not needed. We don't need white saviour tropes. So, I mean, I still personally think that there are some bits that are good about the movie. I think the movie was well done as a piece of art, but it's just, no. So yeah, I'm not gonna read this one anymore. I just, there are a lot better books out there about the black experience than that. Travelling to Infinity by Jane Hawkins is her memoir about her life with Stephen Hawking. This was free when attached to the DVD of The Theory of Everything. My friend bought the DVD and then gave me the book because she doesn't really read, and this is a 500-page book with relatively small text. And that's why I'm not reading it. I am not interested enough in Hawkins' life. It is a memoir from his wife, ex-wife. I don't know if she was a scientist. If she is, then maybe that would be interesting to see more the science side of things. If she's not a scientist, I'm not particularly interested in reading. This isn't a book that I particularly care about having on my shelves. Because it was given to me by a friend, I am gonna, and it wasn't like a gift, I am gonna check and see if she wants this back, and if not, I'll offer it to my partner because he also likes science, and if he doesn't want it, then it'll be donated. This one doesn't really count, but I'm making it count. Your RSPB Members Guide. I am no longer a member of the RSPB because money, but I was for a little while because geography student at undergrad, and this is, it's been on my shelves, which is why I'm counting it. And I don't need to keep it. Especially right now, because it's a guide to all the centres and stuff, and I can't get out. So, it's gonna fall there. So yeah, I'm not. Now, for the last few books, they're a little bit weird. Give. Fucking hell. So let's start with the most bookish of the books, and that is The Moon on the Tides Anthology for AQA GCSEs. Now, I have 2 copies of this, as well as having, oh, they've got my name in, I should probably scroll that out, as well as having extra little bits along with them for one of the books. These were what I used when I was in my GCSEs, if it wasn't obvious. For my English Literature GCSEs, I did get an A star, I did do well, but I don't need to keep them. I don't know if these are still used by other people, but even if they aren't, they could be a good educational tool to help them analyse poetry. And the poems in these are quite diverse, ranging, I think they're all British. No, they're not actually. But there's quite a few black British authors, and I think some Asian British like poetry writers, not authors, I guess same thing. As well as some from various points around the globe. So it is a pretty diverse little set, as well as having some of the white male British classics in here too. And I just think it'll do more good not being stuck on my bookshelves where it's never gonna get reread again. So then for the really weird ones. So first up we have this. It was gifted to me by an aunt, and it was a very appreciated gift. I don't know if you do it in the US or in Canada or in Australia or anything, but in the UK at least we do annuals every Christmas, and kids often get them. I will have a better example soon, hint hint. So this is one of them, and this is meant to be like one that you can draw in and things like that. It's got like pages that pull out, and it wants you to draw what would be in your trunk and like write out your letter of acceptance and stuff like that. And I never used it because it was a little bit immature for me. My aunt gifted me this when I was 20. It would be fun, but I just didn't want to do it. And especially now, I don't need this. Like, extra don't need this. And also, there will still be some kid that is going to be reading Harry Potter. And although I don't need any more money going to JK Rowling. Like, ever. So putting this secondhand will mean that a kid can get it, not give any money to Rowling, not give her any proceeds, and still enjoy some Harry Potter. And it did develop a lot of this generation into being the kind-hearted people that we are today. So hopefully that's what these children who will read these books will take from. Then some actual annuals, like proper annuals. So yeah, if you don't have these in your country, welcome to the, I can't show the book, there we go. Cover my face, that's better. Doctor Who! So I love Doctor Who, I loved Doctor Who for many a moon, and this is, again, why I got these annuals. I'm pretty sure it's from my aunt again. They do have more interactive bits in as well, and I did like reading through these. They do have some comic book pages and stuff inside, but I'm never going to go back to them. I'm never going to read them again. They are older annuals, but there is still like fun stuff inside for the kids to do. So it just, again, seems to make more sense to me to send them somewhere that they're going to be loved and cherished and used, rather than keeping them in the garage in a drawer and never touching them. So those are the books I'm getting rid of. There is quite a number. I don't particularly want to stack them because they're currently in a pile on the bed. Let me know if you've read any of these, if you've enjoyed the ones that I enjoyed, and if you unhaul books. I know that a lot of people never ever unhaul anything, and I know a lot of people barely buy books. I am neither. I unhaul kind of relatively frequently for a book hoarder, and I buy too many books. Far too many. I'm looking at them. I have too many books. So let me know down in the comments below how you read. What do you keep? Do you unhaul books? Yeah. And I'll see you in the next video. If you want to watch some more from me, click the subscribe button. And thank you so much for watching, guys. Bye!